Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super theory / speculation video. I am once again joined by Kihokai 1994. Man, what is up?
What is up, everybody on the internet? What are you doing this night? We are going to talk about something interesting that we just found.
Yes, basically if you are not aware of the recent spoilers from Dragon Ball Super, and I am posting this a couple days after that is, maybe like, I don't necessarily know exactly when this is going up, honestly, but you know, it has been out for at least a couple hours, so if you guys aren't aware of it and you don't want any spoilers, please make sure to click off this video and run very, very far away from that. But guys, this is something I've talked about recently on my channel, not necessarily recently, but a couple months back ago with MJ, and I just wanted to do kind of an updated version of it. I'm going to just spout off the entire theory, and then Kihokai and I are going to actually just discuss it as we usually do. So basically, guys, and I know this is crazy, but roll with me here. So with the recent leaks, we get the idea that they're actually Namekians in Universe 6. I mean, these guys are in both Universe 6 and Universe 7. And it makes me wonder, you know, this goes back, and a lot of people are going to be pointing out this in the comment section below. A lot of people already have. You know, there's the whole concept of the Namekian Book of Legends and how they changed that from the Battle of Gods movie to the Battle of Gods arc, and why they have never touched on that, and all of this mythology about where Namekians actually got the power to make the Dragon Balls that Champa said back in the Champa arc, where they basically chipped off the stuff off the surface of these Dragon Balls, and they were able to get that stuff. And the entire situation with Zarama creating the Super Dragon Balls, the original creator of Super Dragon Balls, but has basically disappeared, and no one necessarily knows who he is or where he is or anything else like that. And it's remained a huge mystery to most of us fans, honestly, for the last couple of years. So, or you know, ever since they basically said it, which was a couple of years ago. But anyway, crazy theory. Zarama, being probably one of the more powerful gods of the hierarchy, is actually Namekians. He is, as it were, split. The reason the Super Dragon Balls, as I've discussed before, are only in Universe 6 and 7, and the Super Dragon Balls themselves are split between the two, and yet both have Namekians that seemingly chipped off, as Champa said, literally chipped off the surface of the Dragon Balls in a way to actually create the power, or get the power to make the Super Dragon Balls, or the Dragon Balls that they create, that Earth and Namek have, and potentially what Universe 6 has. So, guys, I think that Zarama was originally a Namekian-like being. I'm not necessarily sure exactly what he would look like, but a Namekian-like being who maybe even like Kami. And you could throw this in there if you want, but, you know, for better or worse, we know that the Namekians in Universe 6 we know the Namekians in Universe 7 are, in fact, nice people, or at least the ones that we knew after the whole drought that basically wiped them out. It would be a really huge twist if the evil side was Universe 7, the good side is Universe 6. But basically, Zarama, like Kami, split himself up because of the power or any of this other stuff. And when Champa says they chipped off the power, it was literally, they're just kind of a chip off of the original god, and they didn't necessarily go onto the surface of a Dragon Ball and chip off a power to give them the power to make Dragon Balls and make that inheritable to their children. It makes really very little sense, in my opinion. This to me makes a lot more sense. So Zarama splits himself up, Dragon Balls go in between both universes, and one side is evil, one side is good, and it would be really interesting if basically through that they were thriving, very long-lasting, even potentially even the longest lasting or living species in both universes, considering they do have the Namekian Book of Legends. And then you also have the idea that because the Universe 7 Namekians were hit by this huge storm and everything, and you have this situation with Kami not necessarily knowing exactly who he is, but having this deep-hated evil in him that he has to basically purge from himself. And then potentially, you know, you don't necessarily know the backstory with Guru and how he actually took the Namekians and rebirthed them and actually was trying to save the community, if they were the evil ones and then Universe 6 were the good ones. But however that really shakes out, basically this is why we haven't seen Zarama. This is why we don't know anything about Zarama, but this is why they have the Namekian Book of Legends and why they seem to be kind of having their fingers into everything with the Dragon Balls and basically every single thing doing with lore in all of Dragon Ball is because Piccolo is literally Zarama himself, but not necessarily. And this is going to be told to us. They're going to bring back the Namekian Book of Legends and all this stuff, and that is why they're bringing back Namekians for the Tournament of Power. So I know that's a whole big mouthful, man, but what are your thoughts?
No, yeah, so I had not heard this idea until you and me had talked recently, like in the past couple hours. And so when I originally saw this quote-unquote leak, the picture that came out of the two Universe 6 Namekians, there were already people like going like, oh, they might be evil, blah, blah, blah. But I actually had the idea of like maybe they were one being at once and they split off. Maybe one of them's evil and one of them's nice. I mean, for the longest time, Kami thought Piccolo Jr. was evil and they didn't like each other. They had that deep-seated hatred because of like his father and you know, just back into their relationship because they were the being once. But they still worked together. They still realized that they needed to save the world, so they both would, you know, kind of put differences aside and help each other out. So since this is for like the survival of a universe, I could see them possibly putting away their grudges and trying to be two really strong warriors. So I was telling Mark about that, and then Mark came at me with this great idea of how the Namekians, since they reproduce by spitting eggs out of their mouth that we've seen so far.
Asexually.
Yeah, asexually. Yeah, that's a good one. So since they reproduce by themselves asexually, we may not even have two different universes of Namekians either. It may just be one race that has, you know, populated two different universes. So it could all be one, like, pyramid from the top of, say his name again, Mark? I always forget the...
Zarama.
Zarama, thank you. So they could all just come from Zarama, just kind of, you know, shuttling down, and then the the two races could have been made, the ones that needed to create Dragon Balls, and then the ones who needed to fight to actually protect themselves.
Mm-hmm. And the thing I like, and also the one thing we don't know, if this is something that kind of came from Zarama, and this is why, you know, the Namekians have that power to create Dragon Balls, and, you know, kind of it's hereditary within them. They have amazing battle powers. They have this ability that, you know, seemingly, at least at some point, is they have all these abilities, not just the fusion stuff, but the power to heal and all this stuff that we've seen almost in a god tier like form. And it would also go on to help explain, you know, why Kami and Dende can take on like God Ki really kind of simply and you know, be the Guardians of Earth. It'd be a really nice retcon, in my opinion, just to kind of show this. And it would also, if they admitted that this was the thing and Zarama's not coming back and all this other stuff, it would really kind of relieve the burden, in my opinion, of actually having to introduce Zarama at some point. I mean, he basically is written out at that point, because you don't necessarily need to show him anymore. You just indicate, you know, every Namekian that you've ever seen in this show is just kind of a child of him in one way, shape, or form. I mean, you know, decades and decades and decades, you know, millions of years, I guess at this point, you know, removed, but they all have this kind of flowing of God Ki and God power, and they all have a potential system. They can literally all fuse together and create Zarama again, or something of that ilk. And then potentially, as I said in my recent video, like, you know, one thing you could have is, depending on whether or not, you know, Universe 6 or Universe 7 in this case is good or evil, or that's exactly how that happened or not, you have Piccolo, if shit really starts to hit the fan with all of this going on, you have Piccolo basically fusing with these two Namekians, because who knows how strong they are, why they were brought. A lot of people are speculating that they're there basically in the shadows protecting the Dr. Pig, Rhoda, or whatever his name is, and potentially have these guys fuse with Piccolo. And if this is true, it'd be a really easy retcon to basically show that Piccolo could now have God Ki and compete on Goku and Vegeta and Gohan and Jiren and Hit's level without giving some huge, like a much bigger ass pull where he just gets the power because, you know, this is something that at least Dragon Ball Super from the very beginning almost has been planting the seeds to show that Namekians are a lot more important to this than we know, and we just have to wait to actually get there, and this could potentially be that point.
No, I would honestly really like to see a god ritual for Namekians and seeing Piccolo get that transformation, and like then we don't have to worry about like power scalers or like people in the community fighting about anything like, oh nope, he just made it on the same platform as them, he's back on the level. That'd be interesting. That'd be really cool for the franchise, I feel.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, like I remember at least vaguely when he fused with Nail, I believe he called it like something like taboo, like they knew they could do this, but they didn't because of one reason or another. We don't necessarily know why. Was that part of it, or was that just kind of a dub line that I'm remembering wrong?
I remember reading a subline for it, but it could have been fanned or not. I'm not positive. I remember them saying that they didn't. I remember there being like Piccolo was the one that was more like, I don't want to do it, than Nail was. Nail was dying, so he was like, yeah, come on. But I don't know, man. Like, I know that Toriyama loves Piccolo, and him writing this could have been his little comeback for him. You know what I mean? Because we've had a lot of these like side characters that aren't Saiyans just kind of sit in the back. And I mean, it's still his series. I mean, he still has control over it. So this could be a way that he gets everybody back.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I really like about this, and people please feel free to go down to the comment section below and tell us one way or the other whether you think that this is brilliant, whether you don't like it at all. I mean, just anything you have to say about it. But one reason I really like this, if the Namekians are basically Zarama, or the offspring of Zarama, and that's where they get the abilities they have. That's why they're as strong as they are, and that's why they are able to create and basically just make Dragon Balls that they really, really shouldn't be able to do. And personally, like I said, it's a much better image in my opinion, or at least logically, than having a gang of like ninja Namekians literally like landing on the surface of a Dragon Ball and like, chipping off pieces of it just to kind of put that kind of somehow in their biology. It's just weird to me, let alone just actually being there. But I really like this idea because it, like I said, it takes away the burden of having to kind of talk anymore or avoid anymore who Zarama is and why exactly he made the Dragon Balls. I mean, that could always be a mystery, but at least we get some kind of an answer there without getting too much of an answer where we still don't want to talk about it. It also kind of does a really good job at retconning basically the concept that Dende and Kami are allowed to be gods and actually sense God Ki and all this other stuff because it's innate in them. And it also, with Piccolo as well, being able to sense Supreme Kai based on all the retcons Dragon Ball Super has made to God Ki and everything going into this series. So there's so many things, at least in my head, that put this theory at such an interesting level that we could actually kind of, as a community, get behind. I don't think it changes anything so drastically that it would be bad just to kind of accept this, whether or not it's true or not.
No, yeah, I don't think it really changes anything. Because I remember having that argument a long time, or well, not argument because you agreed with me, but I was letting you know about Piccolo. I was like, man, it's weird that Piccolo can't sense Beerus when he can feel like the Kaioshin at the Buu Saga tournament. But I don't know. Them turning out to be gods would be a good little, because he doesn't fight in the 10-year after the 10-year gap in the tournament, does he? Piccolo?
I mean, we don't know yet.
No. At the end of Z.
No, he's not the one fighting in the tournament. He doesn't participate.
Yeah, he just goes and hangs out. Maybe he knows he's strong like them, but he can't beat them. But that he's just kind of like, he's not too far under them, but he's like, yeah, I'll just sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean, Piccolo is like, if that's true, Piccolo's just biding his time, because Piccolo's not the type of person who's going to stop training, but he is also Namekian. He'll live longer than them. Yeah. Because he's like, just bite my time.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially since the Saiyans wear out at 80, I think he can beat that.
Yeah, he'll definitely beat that. But guys, like I said, please make sure to go down to the comment section below and tell us what y'all's thoughts about this are. Is it a good theory? Is it not a very good theory? Like I said, this is something that whether or not they explain it away or not, this is my kind of headcanon stuff, and I'm, they can easily not say it, and I'll just be like, yeah, like it was never said, but that's my headcanon version. Like I think that that's a really cool idea, and it'd be cool to kind of give Piccolo that upper tier of like, you're not strong or important. Yeah, you're not strong important, but at least like during the mythology and everything, it puts you on that level. So I like that. Guys, like always, please make sure to go down to the description section below and hit that link. Go check out Kihokai's channel. The guy makes some really awesome content. Definitely doing discussions. He's also talking about wanting to do some Dokkan videos. I know a lot of people in the community are really huge fans of that. He has a new awesome video about that.
I pulled Gogeta.
It's a good video. Like that's a fun, like, oh my god, that happened really too quickly.
Yeah, that's what I felt, especially when everybody else in the community, and I know this video is not about Dokkan at all, but I've seen other people dump 600 700 stones into it, and I got it moderately quick.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, guys, please make sure to go check him out. Don't forget to, subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button. That's going to notify you every single time I upload, because there might be some random uploads in there, but basically every single day at 4 o'clock, at least Central Time. So guys, with that being said, we're going to catch you on the next video. I hope everyone has a good day or night or morning or whenever you're actually listening to this. But with that, it's been real.